going to be dealing with the Cincinnati incident. And we all know what that is, or you should know what that is. Okay. I'll definitely go into it about what happened, or what, we know happened so far. But I wanted to point out how this situation is used to further destroy the image of black men. Okay. First, I want to play some receipts before I even get started. I'm going to start with some receipts.
More new reaction as some in Fort Wayne are protesting after a bar fight on the city's south side Friday night left a man hurt. It happened at Pike's Pub off of Winchester Road, and viral video of the incident shows a man being assaulted by a group of men where some explicit language and racial slurs were used. Now, police say the victim did not want to tell them about the people responsible for their injuries. And yesterday, people gathered outside the now closed bar in protest of what happened.
A bar manager in Tempe is attacked while on the job. Surveillance video capturing the moment a man sucker punched the woman, knocking her out.
She was hospitalized after having an extensive brain bleed, and her journey to recovery is still far from over. Fox 10's Lauren Clark has more on how the community is planning to help.
Everyone at work is rallying behind Tiffany, who was caught on camera being sucker punched in an injury she says nearly cost her her life. One slap is all it took.
He hit me so hard that it knocked me out.
General Manager Tiffany Albright lies helpless on the floor of the five-star dive bar in Tempe. The man who struck her is captured walking out the door. Witnesses rush to her side to help.
Everyone was just shouting around me because the bump on my head was so huge.
Tiffany says it happened around 2 a.m. on June 24th. She was closing down for the night, but says one man wasn't moving and started calling her names.
Went to leave around the bar to go show him the door, open the door for him. I only made it to there and he hit me.
She says it happened fast.
And I just crumbled. I was completely passed out before I hit the ground.
Her head smacked on the concrete floor, causing a severe brain bleed. She was quickly rushed to the hospital.
They had to do emergency surgery immediately to save my life.
Police later arrested 37-year-old Ryan McHalanen. Court records say McHalanen texted his friend, claiming Tiffany was trying to kick them out of the bar and that she should be grateful that he didn't break her jaw. He's now facing a charge of aggravated assault. But the road to recovery is long.
Now, the videos you saw there were a compilation of the same things that happened in the Cincinnati incident happening, except with pale skinned males. All right. And that's not a derogatory term. That's just a description. It's like you could say I'm a dark skinned male. Right. So I'm saying it this way because of the YouTube algorithm. Right. So it happened by some pale skinned males. But this particular situation, this particular incident from Cincinnati, this was looked at as a unique, unprecedented situation. That was nothing different than a regular bar incident. I'll say it that way, a regular bar incident. It is no different. Okay? When people are drunk, when people are intoxicated and things happen. Testosterone is there, things happen. Okay? And I'm not justifying the men that were involved in that. Okay? Because, I don't even know what the whole situation was about and whatever the case may be. But I do know where it started from. We do know where it started from. And that was from the video showing that pale skinned man slapped that darker skinned man in the face. We see that. We clearly see that. And that right there was a trigger, okay, for that and why those things transpired. And I'm not saying I'm not taking sides based upon is it right or wrong. I'm not dealing with that. I'm dealing with there's a problem, there's a reaction to a situation. Okay? Now the way they're painting it in the news is as if these are some basically monsters, you know, for what they did and so on and so forth. We never seen nothing like this. We gotta stop the crime and so on and so forth. But they're insinuating that it's a black issue. They're insinuating that it's black people that are the problem. No, they're insinuating this is the most violent thing that they've ever seen, which is very laughable. Okay, very laughable and rich, I'll say. But this is what they're trying to paint this thing as, when it's nothing more than a bunch of individuals that were drunk or whatever the case may be that got into a fight. Now, you do have the incident where the man knocked out the woman, which that would have probably been that was the most gruesome part of that. And what they're using is sensationalism. But I showed you in that other clip that a pale male did the same thing, and that's not the only incident that a pale male did that, or that's not the only incident that a darker male did that either. When you see these different incidents, you have to be able to use critical thinking, which the majority of people don't use, because they're actually controlled. They're able to be directed and guided into a particular viewpoint. Even with the George Floyd incident, there's many incidents like that have happened. Why were you able to be moved by that one? Because it was constantly pushed to you. It's just like anything else. It's like anything else. And this is how they're able to destroy your image. The power of media. Very powerful. Very, very powerful. Okay? And in the wrong hands, it's very destructive. And I'll explain to you why it's very destructive. Because a person's reputation is everything. A person's reputation is everything, because it's a stigma on you. It's something that stays with you. It's something that dictates how you will be treated, how you will be perceived. Okay? And for centuries, you have been being perceived as everything negative. Everything negative you have been perceived as. Through what? Through these different things. And also the culture which you have, which was actually a synthetic culture that was developed and guided. You were guided into this culture, in other words, okay, was given to you. Through what? Music, movies, okay, and different other things. It created a mindset. It created a mindset that has been destructive. All right. And if it were to be turned, if it were to be put, that control would have been put in the right hands. Okay. I'm talking about the people that own these companies. Okay. I'm talking about the people who own these companies, the root of the problem. Then guess what? It could have been it could have been used positively. Okay. Go back to Stevie Wonder. Stevie Wonder, that's probably, in my opinion, that's the best musician of this century. Okay, and many people would agree with me. He didn't do music like what you're doing today, what you're calling music today. He didn't do it like that. It wasn't pushing this negative vibration of violence and destruction and all these different things. Okay, narcotics and whatnot. It was pushing a positive vibration. All right? It was positive. Okay? So, if you don't understand that, right, then you don't really understand what you're up against. And don't expect these videos that I do to be pushed out there at the highest level, because they don't want this type of message out there too much. So that's why it's good to like, share, and subscribe to push this out for ourselves. Okay? Now, I'm just giving a mindset to have when you're looking at these things, because I don't just look at an incident, and it could have been the other way around too. with that incident. It could have been the other way around. It could have been, a bunch of dark men, a bunch of pale men doing something to a dark man. I want to know the background story. I'm not just going to listen to it and say, okay, yeah, this means that, this means that. That's somebody that's moving off of emotions. And because the black community has become a matriarchy, basically, these young men, they're full of emotions rather than logic. The man that punched a woman, that was an emotional thing that he did. He's full of testosterone, and then he's emotional, which pushes rationality to the side, man. And you mix that with testosterone, that's a dangerous thing. When you look at that incident, man, you have to see it as an attack on the image of black men as a whole. And that's what it is. It's an attack on your image. And I could do a whole 10-hour talking session about that alone and go into detail about it. But I just want to kind of skim over it. All right. Because this is pushed right now. This is a nationwide thing right now because it's so heavily pushed. Now, those other incidents I showed, I didn't know about the situation that happened in Indiana really until today because I was searching for it. And there's a lot of things that have been scrubbed from the internet so you could only get one perspective, specifically from YouTube. Okay, because I was actually looking for this old story, and I remember this story where there was 3 pale men that were trying to jump this one dark man black man from Canada, and what happened was, I'm trying to say it in a YouTube friendly way, they got demolished. Let's put it that way. But the point of the matter is that it's the same thing. This is things that people do, and it's not about it being good or bad. It's about you trying to pin it on one particular person when this is just a regular, I shouldn't even say that word, a regular bar incident. Okay. So I just want to touch on that real quick, and hopefully you kind of, you take, you think differently when you see these kind of things and understand really what it is, because this is really what it is. All right. So with that, I'm out.